When you started Offshore Marine in 1986, did you ever imagine this is what it would look like 40 years later?
No, not even close. "40 years ago, just looking at surviving, making it work, never having an idea that it would ever grow this big."
How does it feel to be here after 40 years in business?
Pretty amazing, surreal. Never thought that this was even remotely possible. So feeling pretty good about it.
I don't think any one of us could have predicted that we would be here today. I always say this is bigger than the dream. We didn't know to dream this big. In 1986, when we first started out, I don't even know if we could imagine what it was supposed to look like.
Success back then was just surviving the day, the weeks, the months.
I don't know that we had a big picture.
April, May, June, and July were the 4 biggest months of the year. Every year I looked at that and said, if I could just make it through these 4 months. So when I would make it through those 4 months, I felt a tremendous amount of success.
There were times that were harder. There were times that were leaner. But I never thought we weren't going to make it.
Back then it was just work. Just work hard and do the right thing.
When you saw how he spoke to the customers, when you saw the trust that he was able to build, and that's when our reputation started to grow. And that's when the dream started to get bigger.
I didn't have to depend or rely on anyone else. It was all on me to succeed.
People got honest treatment. They got a lot of great conversation. They got explanations. And that word of mouth just took us beyond.
There isn't anything that I believe that I would have done dramatically different.
And I never thought that we should ever consider doing something else. So I guess if I were looking back, I would tell myself, keep going, it's worth it.
Being able to work with my wife and my boys are just, all of it is, every day it's a success.
But the proudest moments, I think, would have been when young Louis decided to become part of the service team, and then just watching his skill set blow everybody else away to a point where he is now, where he's leading the team in there.
After getting out of school and coming back to work here, it kind of just took its natural course where the business sucked me in and everything just kind of fell into place.
And then the same for Kevin. He slid in more gently, but watching his gift for people. He can talk to anyone and make anyone comfortable. And it's a beautiful skill set to have, but it's in every part, like he bleeds it. It's in every part of his soul.
It's crazy over my time being here full time every day in where it's brought me, more so from a personal aspect in things. I have gotten a great joy out of working directly with customers and the personal aspects of things.
There pretty much isn't a day that goes by that I'm not proud. These 2 guys are pretty special.
And that's so comforting as a parent to know that your kids are become these beautiful humans.
To be able to work with my sons, I started this business before they were born, and to watch them work here through grammar school, through high school, through college, and then become full-time employees and then owners, incredible.
Very early on, my dad heavily involved Louis and I from a financial standpoint.
I was actively working on a succession plan. It was a process. I was maybe a year into a 2-year process I felt it was going to take. But in one of our family meetings, Louis verbalized. He said, "Hey, Dad, I would like to be an owner before I turn 30.
I always knew that I wanted to be a business owner. As I worked through the years and worked up the ladder and, kind of gained ground and felt more and more comfortable here, that was when decided now was kind of the time and approached Dad at the family meeting that year. Wanted that milestone to be completed before I turned 30.
It just started to fall together naturally, that Louie and I were involved in more and more decisions and making more and more of our own decisions, that it became kind of a self-reflective thing as a family of, this is something that has provided so well for our family through the years. Okay, as Louie and I develop our own families, how can this provide for us? Where do we need to go to continue to allow things to work out in such a positive way that it all just kind of naturally progressed?
Because of that statement, because it happened at a family meeting, I accelerated the succession plan and we made it happen.
We are what we are today because of decisions that they made and that they helped him make.
So to answer the question, it was something I was thinking about but had no timeline, and Louie set the timeline.
The hardest part of being a family-owned and operated business is just the family dynamic. Now, we get along very well. There's a level of respect that no matter what the disagreement is, that level of respect just does not disappear.
Everybody needs to be treated equal. When you are working in the business, you are an employee. We are all co-workers. You're an employee first and an owner second.
I think that just kind of translates into consciously knowing when to shut it off.
When you're working the hours I did and trying to be successful and all of these things, you don't shut it off when you go home. When I was spending time with the boys outside of work, the main subject was work all the time. But one of them said to me one day, "Dad, do we have to talk about business?" And I looked at them and I said, "No, we don't." And that was a defining moment.
We so appreciate spending our personal free time together. It's just a matter of making sure the business isn't involved in that, because the business is always involved.
I did sacrifice some family early on when the boys were younger, but I fortunately, early enough, when they were still younger, I started to understand more what was more important. And so what it would mean for me, I wouldn't miss a ball game or a basketball game or anything, but what it did mean is I'd have to go back to work after the game was over.
It caused some birthday party celebrations. One of them was moved here because we couldn't get the dad home in order to celebrate, so we just moved a 3-year-old's birthday cake here, and we celebrated with the night shift.
When I started out, there was no such thing as a work day or a work week, as far as hours or punching a clock. You just went to work and you just worked, and it never was the work was done. So you didn't go home at the end of the day when the work was done. You went when you physically had to go. And so for many years, it was 6 and 7 days, and it was easily from 7 in the morning till 10, 11 o'clock at night. I'd go home at 11 o'clock at night and couldn't wait to get to work the next day. And that was probably a big driving force in our success.
I mean, I grew up watching my dad put in 60, 88 hours a week and learned a work ethic from my grandfather that you put the work in. It's just end of story. You put the work in, and what you put in is what you get out.
There was so much time involved in building this business. If I hadn't been part of it, I don't know if I would have understood, because I could see his day-to-day, because I could see the work coming in and the deadlines that were due. I think I had such a beautiful understanding for why he couldn't help me with what I needed to get done at home, or why he had to work a double shift and wasn't coming in until 10 or 11 at night. I'd left him at 5:30, 6 o'clock, 7 o'clock, whatever it was. I knew what he was up against.
To see how rapidly things have changed in the 10 or so years that my brother and I have been hands-on as Generation 2 in this business, we've seen a lot of changes in the world, in the industry, and in our business, but we've seen some substantial growth that was well beyond what we had planned for or could keep up with.
I never thought we'd be here. When we started even thinking about having to expand, it still was not to this extent.
As the business kept continuing to grow and we just couldn't get our feet under us, we kept looking at ways to expand. And over the years, I can't tell you how many multiple properties we looked at and how many different ways we looked at to expand the footprint of what we had. There were a couple that we got very, very close to closing on, and I am so grateful that none of them ever worked out because they brought us to where we are today.
Everything kind of fell together that the natural progression at the time was to look at the piece of property that we have built on. It was vacant and cleared for 20 years. One of those things that I think it all worked out the way that it was supposed to.
There's always a moment of awe when I see this building. If I come down the road from a different angle and I can see the whole operation, literally my chest swells with pride.
There is no short of appreciation for just the stature that this facility has and what it really means and what it is. There's a lot of pride in the fact that it matches the level of service that we offer.
It feels pretty great to own something like this, to be a part of something like this.
There's just no shortage of pulling into the driveway in the mornings and just appreciating where we get to come to work today, where we get to do what we do.
I am proud to be here. I am proud to put my name on the building and be a part of this business.
There's just a lot of pride in knowing that I had my say in some of the decisions.
I look over this showroom, I see the shining floor, and I am just very, very proud to have been part of this journey.
There's a huge sense of pride and success in being able to work with my wife for 40 years. It's just been the joy of my life. It truly, truly has. There's no way, absolutely no way, I could have gotten here without her. Can't say enough about Sherry.
In 1986, I got a phone call, and he said, "Honey, I need you to quit your job." I would have done anything that man asked me to do. I could say the same today, but I'd probably ask a few more questions. I wouldn't have it any other way.
I think the greatest thing, and I never really thought about this before, but I think my relationship with my sons is so much better and closer because of the business relationship.
As a family, I think we've really established just a really high level of respect and the ability to work together.
If there's any issue with the boys at all, it's a business issue. It's something that I would have with any other employee or they would have with me as a manager.
Not everybody is able to work with their families, but I get to say I come to work every day with my older brother, and we get to work with my dad and with my mom, and that's not a thing a lot of people get to say.
We're united as a team, and we share the pride of what we've built together.
There's no way over the last 15 years I could have ever got here without them.
Has there been a cost to our relationship? It's a question I ask myself a lot. I wonder who we would be. I'll never know, but I'll also tell you I'd never give this up.
I get to spend every day with them. I don't think it gets any better than this. I don't know how it could be any better than this.